Once, the god of death sent one of his messengers to Earth to bring back the soul of a woman who had just passed away. The messenger obeyed and came to Earth. But when he arrived, he was struck with worry. He saw 3 small girls, all triplets. One was still nursing from her dead mother's breast. Another was crying loudly, and the third had cried herself to sleep, her tears dried on her face. These 3 helpless children were alone with their dead mother. Their father had already passed away, and there was no one else to care for them. The messenger's heart ached for the little girls. He couldn't bear the thought of leaving them all alone, without their mother. Saddened and troubled, he returned to the heavens without taking the woman's soul. When he met the god of death, he said, "I couldn't take her soul. Forgive me, but you don't understand the situation. There are 3 tiny innocent triplets still nursing. One is still holding on to her dead mother. Another has cried herself to sleep, and the third is wailing. My heart couldn't handle it. Can't we let their mother live a little longer, at least until the girls grow a bit older? There's no one left to look after them." The god of death listened and, filled with anger, said, "So, you think you're wiser than the one who controls life and death? You think you know more than the one who rules the entire universe? You've committed your first sin today, and for this, you'll be punished. You will go back to Earth and stay there until you laugh at your own foolishness 3 times. Only then can you return." The messenger accepted the punishment, but deep down, he believed he had done the right thing. He couldn't imagine how he would ever laugh at his own foolishness, since he didn't think he had done anything wrong. The messenger was sent back to Earth. Not far from where he lay, a cobbler was preparing to head into the city to buy warm clothes and blankets for his children, as winter was coming. On his way, he saw a man shivering by the side of the road, naked and cold. This man was the messenger cast down to Earth. The cobbler felt sorry for him, and instead of buying clothes for his children, he decided to buy a blanket and warm clothes for the stranger. The messenger had no food and nowhere to stay, so the cobbler invited him home. "Come with me," he said. "Don't worry if my wife gets angry. I spent the money for our children's clothes on you, so she'll be upset. But things will settle down in a few days." The cobbler took the messenger home, but neither he nor his wife knew that this stranger was divine. As soon as the cobbler brought him inside, his wife erupted in anger, yelling at her husband for wasting their money on a stranger instead of buying clothes for their kids. Seeing this, the messenger laughed for the first time. The cobbler, surprised, asked, "Why are you laughing? What's so funny?" The messenger replied, "I'll explain everything after I've laughed 3 times. For now, don't ask me anything." The messenger had laughed because the cobbler's wife had no idea that by helping him, her husband had brought a divine being into their home. Soon, their life would be filled with blessings. But she could only see what was lost, the money meant for their children's clothes. She didn't realize what was coming, a future full of happiness. The messenger realized that humans, too, can only see the immediate situation, not the bigger picture. This was his first moment of realizing his own foolishness. Over time, the messenger learned the cobbler's trade, and being divine, he quickly became skilled. The shoes he made were beautiful, and soon gained fame. Within months, the cobbler became wealthy, and his shop was known far and wide for its extraordinary shoes. One day, a servant from the king's palace came to the cobbler with a rare piece of leather. "This leather is precious," the servant said. "Make a pair of shoes for the king, but be careful. Don't make sandals, only shoes." At that time, it was a custom in some places that when someone died, they were buried wearing sandals, not shoes. The cobbler warned the messenger, "Be careful. You've been asked to make shoes, not sandals. There's only enough leather for one pair, and if there's a mistake, we'll be in trouble. The king won't forgive us." But for some reason, the messenger made sandals instead. When the cobbler saw what had been made, he was furious. "You'll get us killed," he shouted. "I told you clearly, no sandals. Why did you make them?" At this, the messenger laughed for the second time. Just then, the king's servant rushed back in. "Don't make shoes, make sandals. The king has just passed away." The cobbler was shocked, and realizing the messenger had somehow known what was coming, begged for forgiveness. The messenger smiled and said, "It's fine. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just fulfilling my punishment." He had laughed the second time because it became clear that no one can predict the future. People worry and make plans, but the future often unfolds in ways we can't foresee. We hold on to desires and ambitions, but in the end, life has its own plan. Now, the messenger began to think about the triplets again. He realized that worrying about their future had been pointless. Life had already laid out its path for them. A few days later, 3 young women arrived at the cobbler's shop. They were there to order shoes for their weddings, accompanied by an older, wealthy woman. The messenger recognized the young women instantly. They were the same triplets he had left with their dead mother. He asked the older woman what had happened to them. The woman explained, "These girls aren't my biological daughters. I found them when they were just babies. Their mother had passed away while trying to feed them, and there was no one to care for them. I had no children of my own, so I took them in and raised them as my own. They grew up in wealth, and now all 3 are about to be married into a royal family." Hearing this, the messenger laughed for the 3rd and final time. He then explained everything to the cobbler, saying, "I was wrong. Fate is far greater than we can ever understand. We only see what's right in front of us. But the bigger picture is beyond our understanding. I've laughed at my own foolishness 3 times now, and my punishment is over. I can finally return home." With that, the messenger realized his mistake and returned to the heavens, wiser than before. The moral of the story reminds us that life's events are often beyond our understanding, and worrying about the future doesn't change what is meant to be. We often get caught up in immediate struggles, focusing on problems that seem overwhelming. However, what may seem like a major setback or a challenge can turn out to be part of a larger plan that we can't yet see. For example, when we go through personal hardships, like a difficult relationship, a financial crisis, or health issues, it's easy to feel like things are falling apart. In the moment, we may ask, "Why is this happening to me?" But sometimes, these challenges help us grow in ways we didn't expect. They might teach us patience, resilience, or reveal new strengths we never knew we had. Just as the messenger couldn't see how the triplets would end up living happy, prosperous lives despite their mother's death, we too can't predict how life's difficulties will unfold. Sometimes, our toughest moments lead to personal growth or new opportunities that we couldn't have imagined. The story teaches us to trust the process of life, to be patient, and to understand that things often happen for a reason, even when we can't see it right away.